name is Chismosas y Chismosos. Welcome back to Chismosas Glam Crime, the third episode, and we are diving into a very seductive and most sinister case I have ever actually read and looked up and everything. And oh, honey, it gets crazy. This episode is just full of craziness. Today we're going to be talking about Jodi Arias. She is famous for murdering her boyfriend, Travis Alexander. And you know what? Let's just get into it so you can understand how loca this girl was. Because Jesus Christ, she got issues. Before the crime scene and the headlines, there was a man named Travis Victor Alexander. A 30-year-old devoted Mormon, as well as the line went wrong, but as well as an emotional speaker. He was also a rising entrepreneur. Travis grew up in deep poverty, as well as he was abused, abandoned, and later raised by his grandparents. He turned his trauma into motivation. He preached faith, success, as well as resilience. So he made something out of his life, instead of allowing the pain and the trauma he was facing define who he was. He decided to make something of himself. I would like this because it's not fixing, but it's gonna get fixed later. He wanted to build a life filled with purpose, love, and integrity, but that dream was slowly destroyed by one single person who is known as Jodi. Now, Jodi was the complete opposite of what Travis was in her younger age. Jodi had both of her parents, and she was not the best kid. I guess you can say she was very rebellious. She also got into trouble. Totally different from Travis. Travis was growing up in a very troubled household, and he ended up having to change that completely to have the good things in his life. And if he wanted to continue to enjoy a good life, he was going to continue working on himself and his work and his religion and his everyday life, So two complete different people, Jodi Arias wasn't just a crazy person, I guess you can say. Her mind was something far more chilling than what has been said. And if you don't know this case, Jodi Arias is the girl who's in the I could say like integrity in pause for the word. Oh my god, I don't know what the word is. The room where the cops ask you questions. For some reason, I can't get the word out. It's in here, it's just not. I'm having one of those moments when people call things the wrong thing. But she was in that room just singing and literally doing handstands. I'll put a clip of it where she's just digging through the trash can and not really realizing she's in a serious situation.
The stars are brightly shining. This is the day of our dear Savior's birth.
the situation is bad at the moment. She's just nonchalantly there. Like, it's another day. Whatever. But that's the case that we're talking about. That girl. That's Jodi. And her interviews are beyond crazy. She talks like she didn't do anything wrong and like she is not the problem.
Glad to see this is waterproof. I don't plan to cry, but you know, I probably won't.
Why do you need to be?
Travis and I used to argue about my driving because my rearview mirror was always facing me instead of toward the back. He made me feel vain sometimes. I guess if I start getting shiny, then we can take a break. Can you do me a favor and just hold that?
Sure.
Sorry.
That's okay.
No, it doesn't matter how many years go by. Like, she is just like, oh, I can't believe he's gone. And I think about it all the time. Like, there was one interview where I saw where the lady's like, how old are you now? And she's like, oh, I'm 30 something. And she goes, well, Travis is always going to be just 30. And she goes, I know when I turned, I believe 31, when I turned 31 or 32, I thought of the same thing. I said, oh my God, he's never going to grow older. And now I'm older than him. And I'm like, you're the reason why he can't get older, because you took his life. Jodi met Travis at like a business place, because if I'm not mistaken, they worked for the same company, and they met there, and they hit it off. You know, people were like, oh, look at them. You know, they were talking. She wasn't Mormon though, but the company kind of surrounded themselves into it, and it was like mainly Mormon people who worked there. She was interested in becoming Mormon, especially after like Travis like kind of showed her the ropes and stuff, and kind of was like showing her how the religion was, what it was about, and everything. And she was, you know, she was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, you know, she already had an interest for it, and now there's this guy that she likes who is a full Mormon, and he's trying to show her the ropes and stuff. But beneath her soft voice and sultry gaze was a really falsified image of her, you know, because she made herself, when they met and in the beginning, as like this sweet little girl. Oh, I don't like using the word little. No, that sounds bad. No, like as this sweet person who would do no evil and could do no wrong. Way off on who she was. It's speculated that she has borderline personality disorder. She's really good at manipulating. She hates rejection, as well as hate being told no. During the relationship of her and Travis, she was very, very jealous type and would follow him around all the time. She needed to know. She was a toxica. But this is not the type of toxica you want to be. There's a good toxica and then there's a bad toxica. And yes, there's a good toxica. For those who are like, no, there's a good toxica. You know, like she cares about you. She wants to make sure you're safe. But she's not going to put a knife in your back. Literally. Not figuratively. Literally. She won't do that. No, 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 no. One of the bad ones who would do that. She always wanted to know where he was at. She didn't like him hanging out with his friends. And, you know, she was like really, really like, ugh, you know? And his friends started noticing like she's kind of weird and she's just too much. And they tried to tell him as well, like she's being a lot, like, you know, there's so much going on with her and we don't understand like why are you putting up with her? And you know, Travis, I don't know if Travis like didn't notice something or he was really in love with her, that he didn't want to admit that something was off. And if I'm not mistaken, when his friends were telling him like this stuff. They even like dared him to go outside, and I have to sneeze. I'm trying not to. Like, wants to drip. And it always happens when I have face paint on me. And it never seems to happen when I'm not doing anything. But anyways, they dared him to look outside the door because they know for a fact that she was out there snooping. And sure enough, he opens the door and there she is. And at that point, he was kind of like, oh, okay, that is kind of weird. That is kind of creepy as well. So he ended up having a talk with her, and he told her, you know, I think that the best thing that could happen is that if we break up. She wasn't happy about it. She was really upset. But, you know, she moved out. They broke up. I'm trying to make this a little bit pretty. Wait, no, I'm trying to make it look like an eyebrow, just not like a authentic eyebrow. Very dramatic eyes. Anyways, back to where I was. Even though she they broke up and stuff, she ended up moving closer to Travis, though. Like, you know, before she went to her grandparents' house. Oh my god, I totally forgot that. She moved closer to him first, and then she would break into his house and like spy on him. Went through his emails, and she would call, like, she would try calling him, and, you know, like, she was being a stalker. Like, girl, no, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Why are you behaving that way? Like, she was trying to do anything to make sure that he was still, like, what is he doing, you know? Like, it wasn't like your normal, oh, you know, we broke up and I'm gonna text him to see, like, hey, wanna go grab some lunch? You know, I just wanna talk. No, her thing was, I had to spray water on my face paint because it's water activated, which I think is cool. It's not like cream like the first ones I've used, and I got a water activated one because it's a little bit easier to manage. Ooh, that was satisfying to me. Very much so satisfying. Oh, I match my hair. Travis is also known to have said, like, if I were to go missing, that he was scared that he was going to go missing because of the stuff that she was doing. You know, he has even told people, like, she's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. She doesn't leave me alone. I don't understand, like, why she's doing this and stuff like that. And at some point, I think she even lied about having a stalker and telling him that she had a stalker and like that. And he, you know, he was just trying to be there as a friend and be like, oh, okay, well, let me help you out and let me see what's going on. But no, like, there was nothing else going on. She was just stalking him. The stalker was her. And then Travis ended up one day having a girl over. I think she was like a work friend, and he was just trying to get to know her and stuff. And Jodi was outside the house just snooping, like, child. Get a better hobby. Well, she's in prison now, so I can't really tell her to get a better hobby. But she should get a better hobby. And if you feel like doing this, get a better hobby. You don't need to go sneak into a man's place when you're not together. Y'all not together. Y'all ain't got no kids. Y'all weren't married. It was a simple old relationship. You don't need to be in this man's house at night trying to snoop through and see who they're with. Don't do that. No. Like, please don't do that. Like, it's over, you know? Go talk to a therapist if you can't afford one. Talk to ChatGPT. They give good advice. That little robot thing is amazing. But still, please don't obsess over someone in that matter where you just need to know where they're at and you need to see them and you need to do this and other stuff, because that's just weird, and that does not make someone go, oh my god, I actually love them. It does not. So don't do it. So on, let me move this before it spills. Don't drop anything else. Powder. Then on June 4th, 2008, she ended up coming over to see Travis, and they ended up having sex. And if I'm not mistaken, this is after she moved out and she was already no longer living close to him. She was actually living with her grandparents. And disclaimer, before she ended up going to go visit him and see him and everything, her grandparents' house ended up getting robbed. And I do the little finger thing, because the only thing stolen from their grandparents' house was her grandfather's gun. Isn't that just convenient? Nothing else. No jewelry, no money, no TV, nothing else fancy. Just his gun, goes missing. And she also promised another dude that she was gonna go visit him, but instead, on June 4th, she went to go visit Travis, and they ended up sleeping together. She claims that she took a video, but she ended up having sex with him, and as well as, it looks so powdery. My nose doesn't stop. And I ran out of Q-tips, so I can't really, plug up my nose right now. But she ended up going over and she was taking pictures. She claims that she took a video. The video is never recovered, so who knows if there's an actual sex tape out there. I think she just said it just to say it. She took photos of him before his murder. And we know it was before his murder because in the photos, I'm not going to put the photos on here. You can look them up yourself if you want to. That's up to y'all, because I think they're not bad photos. It's not showing actual things. It's kind of like it's him in the shower. It's him in the shower. And he's just kind of looking at the camera all sultry-like, and then it's if the camera falls and it gets some snaps of some things, and then in one of the photos you can actually see someone's foot. That's all the paint. Ugh. It's not an eye crying, it's a nose dripping. But you can see a foot in one of the photos. It doesn't show the actual size of the foot or anything. You could just see a glare of not a glare, it's a blurry photo of someone's leg and foot. And they found the camera inside of the washing machine with other stuff like the sheets and certain things there. And the crazy part is that when cops found all this, she was no longer at the house or anything like that. He was discovered by his friends who were coming to pick him up because he was going on vacation. He was supposed to be going to a work trip with people, and he invited another girl to go, a coworker friend type deal. And they realized that he was not answering, and so they went ahead and opened the door. The roommate was there. I still don't understand how the roommate did not notice that he was dead, but I do understand that when the roommate answered the door and was like, what are y'all doing here, and they were asking for him, he claimed like, oh, I thought he already left. I'm the only one here. Like, I haven't heard anybody. And the friends are like, no, we have not seen him. We're very worried about him. He hasn't answered the phone or anything. And we're just trying to see, like, if he's okay. We leave soon. So the roommate lets them inside the room. And that's when they get hit with this smell. And they all walk in, and there's Travis folded up. And I mean, like, folded, like, slumped in the shower, deceased. He was stabbed 27 times, which is crazy. And his throat was slit. And there's photos of his autopsy and how his body was found. I really do not recommend you to go see those, because it's bad. The photos are bad. I regret looking at them. It's really sad. Really, really sad. And he, they're all in shock. They call the cops. They come and see. It's obviously that he was murdered, and they start investigating. All his friends automatically said it was Jodi. They were like, you have to look into her. She's been stalking him. She's crazy. She has to be the girl that did this. So, moving forward, they continue with the investigation, and they try to get things kind of sort of together, because they're trying to put their like evidence together and stuff. And then Jodi she ends up contacting the police and asking them about like what's going on, and oh, I known him, and people are gonna blame her because she was like the stalker ex, and she wasn't really stalking, she was just worried. And she kept trying to figure out where were they at with the investigation. At first, cops thought like, okay, whatever, it's just some random person trying to get information, and they didn't really think much of it. And then she called again, and they're talking to her, and she's saying some things that's kind of like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you rambling about? And sure enough, they start looking into her, especially after all the friends and people and family are like, just friends and coworkers are like, she's the girl that you're supposed to be looking at. They look into her, and they find out some weird things, like, okay. They find out some weird things about her. She was being questioned, and come to find out, she ended up getting a car to rent to go see that guy that she was talking to. And at first they had given her a red car, and she didn't want it. She was like, no, like, for now, and then we could fix it later. Just me arguing with myself. But yeah, no, like, she did some weird stuff. So she turned off her phone, if I'm not mistaken, when she was going to go see this guy. And then the guy, they interviewed the guy, and the guy's like, oh yeah, she never came. She actually came the next day that we said that we were gonna meet up. And she is also shown like turning off her phone and getting gas, and getting also like an extra spare tank of gas, which is kind of weird, because the way you're going, if you're going on a road trip, there should be plenty of gas stations for you to stop by, unless for sure there isn't going to be. But in the route and in the way that she said she was going to go, and the way that she did go, there were plenty enough gas stations for her to stop and get some gas. So, obviously she's trying to make sure she doesn't get caught on camera. And then, sure enough, she ends up going to Travis's house that day. And they do it. And then, you know, unfortunately, he passes away. And she tried to cover up, saying, oh my God, yes, I was there when he died. These men, like robbers type deal, try to come in and rob us, and they were asking for me and for him. They ran off because I was scared, and you know, I didn't want to get in trouble and all this other, like, it was a lot. It was a lot that she said, like, literally didn't make sense. Her story kept changing. Nothing was just one single thing. It was this, it was that, it was so many other things. And then comes the trial. And throughout this trial, she looks so different than what people know her as. She looks frumpy, a little like, she doesn't look so, like, done up. She has brown hair. She is wearing glasses, has like this very subtle outfit on, and her claim is like, I'm in prison. In jail. I'm in jail. I haven't had any access to my makeup. I can no longer dye my hair. I can no longer do certain things. Like, what do you want from me? And I get it, but her look change, it was a lot. It was a lot for it just to be, I'm gonna fluff this. I have red on it, so it's okay. We're gonna red it up a little bit more. It was a little dramatic. But yeah, she had this whole new look to her. And throughout their trial, it's crazy. She tried to make herself the victim. She even wore a shirt like, I'm a survivor and stuff like that. But the evidence screamed way louder than her lies, you know? She, her contradictions, her claim after the murder, her obsessive behavior all pointed to someone so deep in her fantasy about Travis and wanting to be into this relationship. And it couldn't be distinguished love from possession, rejection, and from betrayal, you know. And she had like recordings and stuff like this about him trying to point him as the bad guy, you know, trying to show people like, oh, you think you knew him and you think he was this, but in fact he was really this way. But no one believed it. Well, some people did, but no one really believed. The people that knew Travis really believed that he was capable of such things. And I'm happy that they believed who he was, because he deserved better, man. He literally did everything he could to make his life 100 times better and try to make his life easier and successful. And all he wanted to do was find someone to love him and care for him and get into a relationship where it was just nice, you know, go along with everything else that's been successful for him lately. That was a lot of blue. Was not trying to do that. Well, too bad. I know this looks a little wonky. I'm kind of rethinking, like, what was I thinking? But once I do the eyeliner, I think it's gonna look good. So I'm gonna take like 2 minutes to just put the eyeliner on, because I can never do that on camera. It's harder than it looks. And then we're gonna continue with the story, and I can add everything else. We are back. Ooh. Now let's rhinestone my face. This is gonna be horrible to take off, but I decided, why not? You know, let's not get out of the lines either, child. Ugh, it's gonna be a hassle to do. And you put it at the wrong spot, girl. Boom. More or less. the spot it needed to be. At least the rhinestones are big. I don't even know why I'm using my rhinestone picker-upper thingy. I could just grab it in my hands. Anyways. Travis was a man full of dreams. I can't see where I'm putting this. Jesus, I need the mirror. I didn't think this through. No. He was a man full of dreams, a light that many people saw. He was a very nice guy, hardworking, cared for others, and just wanted to make the most with his life. And Jodi was a darkness who didn't want to let him shine without her. She wanted Travis all to herself. Just sad, because there's a lot of people out there like that, and it's just one of those things where you read about it, you see it, and you're like the Chris Watts case. Oh my God, I'm gonna do that one. Me and my mom followed it a lot. We followed the whole thing, and apparently more came out. Do not get distracted. This is not about Chris Watts. This is about Travis. But the story isn't just about a killer and her victim. It's about what we ignore in our lives also, It's being in a relationship and you decide to blind yourself from all the red flags and how crazy someone can be. And there's people out there who are living a life like this, who have their own Jodi Arias in their life. And I just want to say, if you are in a relationship that someone's being possessive and not allowing you to do your own thing, please get out. There's help. And I'm going to link some things in the bottom for people as well. You don't need to be in a relationship like that, and you don't need someone controlling you. And I know in the moment it's like there's no one else but this person, because love is very blinding, and you make excuses for someone, and you truly make yourself believe that there's nothing wrong with how this person is, but it's not true. That's not love. That's just manipulation, possession, and it's someone who doesn't care for you for who you are, and you deserve better. Go through something like that, so I can't really speak through experience, but I understand that it is hard. I've seen people who go through it. I've seen people be with people who are absolutely abusers, and etc. And I get it. It's not an easy thing to just step away from and change in your life, because he tried. Travis tried to change it in his life. He tried to get away from her. He did the best that he could to change that whole atmosphere and meet someone else and do better with his life and his love life, and just ignore her. And she just wouldn't go away. She stalked him and continuously terrorized the people around him. Anyone who tried to get close to him, she also, tried to interfere. And I still can't believe that she really tried to play the victim. Jodi was doing everything but admitting what she did. And you can see it throughout the whole trial. You could see it throughout the entire interviews that people do on her. There's something wrong with her. Obviously there is, but she didn't care. And she didn't care that he didn't want to be with her. She put in her head, no, you are mine and I'm yours, and that's it. It's unforgiving. I'm gonna put the rest of them because, it is kind of hard, and I should have done it when I did the eyeliner and stuff, but I'm gonna put the rest of these on my face just so I can kind of get it all together. And you know, we're almost done with we are done with the story, you know, about Jodi Arias. You know, she is a crazy girl, and I feel so bad for Travis, and may he rest in peace. He did not deserve that at all. He was taken way too young. 30 years old is young. May not feel young to everybody out there who is 30, but it's still young. Me finish rhinestoning it and putting on lashes, and then we will come right back. Okay, but this is kind of sort of what we're doing, but it didn't come out the way that I wanted to, but I'm gonna keep rolling with it and just try it. But give me a second, and voila. So I got carried away and I did my lipstick too, because I was like, I don't want to be talking and doing. So let's get to the end of it. It actually kind of came out. Kind of feeling it. I scared my dog though. Well, my brother's dog. That was a great time. But anyways, in 2013, a jury found Jodi Arias guilty of first-degree murder. The courtroom was packed. Cameras flashed. Some cried, some cheered. But Jodi, she barely flinched. She didn't even move, cry, show any emotion. She just kind of just sat there while the verdict was being said. Ooh, my eyelash went down with my hair. Oh, okay, there it goes. Okay. They're really heavy. But after 2 dramatic sentencing phases, she was given life in prison without the possibility of parole, which is good. We do not need her out here. No. So she was no longer gonna have the chance to pose for cameras or do any interviews, just nothing for a while. But that didn't last that long because she had multiple interviews afterwards, you know, while in prison. Today she sits in Perryville Prison, which is in Arizona. She is drawing, also selling her art online, which I think is ridiculous why people are buying this stuff. But John Wayne Gacy did the same thing. He would create clown art and people would buy it. And I can understand if you are interested in true crime and infatuated by people who have done really crazy things, because I am too. I am a very 100% horror girly, and I love true crime and I like learning about it, but I would never buy like actual artwork from someone who committed a horrible thing. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of that. No, absolutely not. But she's also giving herself like a spotlight behind bars, you know, even in like in any interview or anything like that. She is still like this queen, and she treats herself like this queen type thing. Like, it's so disgusting. I hate it, absolutely hate it, because you can see it that she does not care what she did. Like, no remorse at all, none whatsoever. She could care less that she took someone's life and have like just, there's no words for it. She just doesn't care. She claims that she is finding finding peace in the place that she is at. She has forgiven herself. She has created a cage for herself of innocence and tranquility, apparently. Horrible. She's always had mental problems and in her young life, and if you read about her or actually go into her background, you could tell that, you know, she had things going on, and she just built a life of delusion, jealousy, and control with anyone around her. And it's just, she hated the word no. and she hated being rejected, and it cost Travis's life, which is really sad. Horrible. But this story was never just about Jodi, not really. It was about Travis Alexander, a man who was just trying to grow, heal, and love, as we explained before. As I explained before, child. But whose life was stolen by someone who couldn't take no for an answer. So, let this episode be a reminder that red flags don't come out screaming at you. Okay, guys? Like, I want y'all to understand that someone who is this toxic doesn't automatically show themselves to you. They flatter you. They can make you feel something in you, and they make you feel happy in a certain sense. But when your intuition or your gut or people around you are starting to notice that their behavior is not normal and it's not okay for the things that they're doing or saying, and you slowly start to see it, please reach out. Please reach out, because you deserve better. You are better. And you don't need that in your life. You really don't. There's no excuse for it. No matter how much this person says they'll change. Because she did the same thing to him. She swore up and down that she was, different. And that wasn't true. And you don't need your life to be taken just because someone is obsessed and shows you passion and disguises it with an illusion of love. It's not worth it at all. But this has been Chismosas Glam Crime. I hope that you enjoyed the look, and I hope that you have enjoyed the story. I know I'm still working on the talking and doing, and I keep cutting, and I keep sniffling. Every time paint touches my nose, just sniffle. Sniffle. I think I'm allergic or something. I should really check on that. But if no one has ever told you this today, you are not a crazy person for loving the person you love. And you are not too much. And you deserve peace. And you deserve to have someone in your life who cares about you. I know I'm preaching this a lot, but I really hope that y'all understand that you do not need to have someone like this in your life. And Travis didn't deserve to have someone like this in his life. He tried, man. He tried, and just didn't work out for him. Till next time, stay safe, stay glamorous, and always trust your gut, okay? Trust it. If you feel it, trust it. And reach out. Get help. Make sure you get help. And I know that in this, even if you reach out to police, sometimes they don't do anything, but try. There's networks out there. There's people out there. There's a whole bunch of things you could do to get help. So please get help. And please stay safe. Till next time. Love you guys. Bye.